Syracuse Rock Alternative 95X.
How are you today, my man?
I was like, this beard looks nice, you know, for sure. Good. How are you?
Definitely a little trimmed up. Fantastic, man. Thank you first and foremost for taking the time to do this today. We genuinely appreciate
Dude,
you
hey,
taking the time to talk to us here in Syracuse.
thanks for having me. Shout out to Earth Crisis, best vegan hardcore band from Syracuse. I just recently saw them here in California before the quarantine, and yeah, great band. Cool to see them. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to care to talk to me at all, man. Really appreciate it.
Excellent, man. It's awesome to me that you're very aware of Earth Crisis, because I actually grew up with those guys, did a lot of work with them over the years. We all kind of came up together around the same time in the Syracuse hardcore scene. So that's really cool to know that they made an impact on your generation as well, man. That's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, think about how ahead of their time they were too. I mean, this was at a time where veganism and animal rights were hard to well, the information wasn't as readily available or as popular as it is today. So they introduced me into the concept of not needing to eat animals, basically. And not to go on a rant about that, but they're great, and their songs were killer too, and their shows were really high energy and really tough sounding heavy music.
Absolutely, my man. Now, speaking of music, you've got your fourth studio album out currently. It's called Angel Miners and the Lightning Riders. Fantastic album. The first single, The Best. Congratulations on all the success of that. Absolutely adored that song. And you've got a new single out now called Mayday, Fiesta Fever.
Yeah.
Killer tune. One of the things that I love best about AWOL Nation, man, is the fact that you guys, you in particular, you make no bones about the fact that your influences are vast and you have no problem incorporating them into your music, making AWOL Nation one of the most diverse sounding bands from this generation. And I absolutely adore the variety within the concept of AWOL Nation.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I guess if like it was rooted in one thing, it would be rock and roll. That's why I grew up learning on guitar and stuff. But growing up in the 80s, a lot of pop music, in my opinion, a fun time for pop music. And then, discovering heavy metal, rap, hip hop, then punk rock, and then below punk rock was hardcore. Hardcore was the underground of punk rock, which was already the underground of rock, right? So, and really hip hop and rap music was very underground at the time. So I just feel lucky with the timing, and that I was passionate enough to like a lot of different genres of music. And, now it, luckily it all came together in a way that wasn't completely too insane for people to like.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's kind of how music needs to evolve, is to not be this static thing, and to take influence from younger generations and apply them to what would be considered the standards of rock and roll these days. And you guys are extremely, extremely good at doing that and staying relevant. And in my opinion, I think AWOL Nation is one of the most forward-thinking bands in the genre. You guys always seem to be kind of like a half a step ahead of the game.
If I were to agree with you, I feel kind of weird, but I probably do, in some ways. But like, yeah, I'm doing my best. But it is interesting to look back on even the first record, Megalithic Symphony, and here's so many songs in today's like atmosphere and climate that sound very closely influenced by that record, and I'm flattered by that. But yeah, that's really nice of you to say, and I hope that's true to some degree.
Absolutely, man. Now, the new single, Mayday Fiesta Fever, features Alan from Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, which is not a band that I would think you guys would cross paths, so to speak. How did that collaboration sort of bear fruit?
Well, Alex and I have known each other since his previous band, or his band before Edward Sharpe, and they were called I'm a Robot. And we used to do shows with my old band. Used to do shows with that band in Hollywood, and kind of like had a little scene going on. And that was a lot of fun. I always thought he was a really good front man, great songwriter, smart guy, great artist, and I looked up to him in a lot of ways. And so then when Ed Sharpe started to take off, I was creating the first AWOL record, and then that took off. And so it was kind of nice. We were like, you know, totally different lanes, but going down the same highway in many ways and looking at each other like, right on, you know. They had Home, we had Sail, and they were kind of still to this day very relevant, enormous songs that had this accidental reach, you know. And
Absolutely.
so then on this record, I wanted to reach out a little bit and think like, okay, who would be cool? Well, I didn't think I need to have a feature because that's what's the right thing to do. It wasn't like that at all. It was more that, oh, here's this bridge / third verse of the song. Who would be cool on this? And first of all, I didn't know what he'd say, and I sent it to him. He's like, heck yeah, let's do it. And so that was really cool. He brought sort of like a Bowie thing to the song. That's something that he does really well. So that was great. And I've always felt like our voices were sort of similar. Our falsettos kind of like, so when we go to do the song live in the future, I know I'll be able to do his part even if he's not around, which he more than likely won't be around. So that was that. And then having Rivers Cuomo on Pacific Coast Highway in the movie was another one of those cool moments for my career where I'm like, oh, right on. These people, these are two artists I love, look up to, and there's a lot of mutual respect flowing, and it's just one of those cool moments for me, for sure.
Absolutely, my man. Now, you brought up your falsetto, which is something I was going to bring up a little bit later, because the B-side of California Halo Blue, that charity track that you put out at the end of last year, was Drive, which is a cover of the Cars classic, which to me, I mean, I know that wasn't Rick Ocasek singing that song. It was the keyboard player whose name I never remember.
It's the bass player. His name's Ben Orr.
There we go.
Who passed away also, like I think in the 90s.
Which is just kind of tragic considering how thick the Cars were.
Yeah.
But like I love your falsetto in that song because it's just it floats in a space that I wasn't expecting it to, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's one of those things that I go back and listen to pretty regularly because of just how impressive it is. And I don't usually go for the cover stuff, man, but you do such an interesting job with it while making it your own and also holding true to the original that I absolutely adore it. And I know that you're a producer as well. So I was wondering if you ever had an opportunity to work with Rick Ocasek, whether it was as a musician or a producer.
No, I didn't. I wish I would have, but I do have this weird moment and a memory that is kind of cool I could share about Rick. I was in this studio in Hollywood with some like kind of free time to mix this demo basically that my band Hometown Hero had made. And man, I'm forgetting the name of the studio, but it's like a famous, renowned studio that I don't think exists anymore. I apologize for my ignorance on this, but anyways, a really cool studio, hard to get into. And I remember walking around the corner and boom, Rick Ocasek was walking down the hallway, and I knew he was working on the Weezer Green album, which was going to be their big return. And I'd heard some of those songs. I was just always around. I love music so much that I'd find my way in places that, like Weezer was doing a bunch of secret shows, trying to get their feet wet again and gain momentum and confidence, I think, for the release of the Green album. And I just found my way at the shows, you know. Became like, there's this girl I knew that I think she was dating or hooking up with like their maybe day-to-day guy or something like that. And so through her, I got into the shows. So I would do whatever just to get to these shows. So I'd heard Island in the Sun, Hash Pipe, and maybe one other song. So I knew those were songs that were hopefully going to be on the record on the Green album. And I walked by Rick and, like, I can't believe I had the confidence to do something like this or say this, but like, as if I even deserved to be talking to the guy. But I said like, hey Rick, I'm Aaron Bruno. I'm in this band called Hometown Hero. So what's the new Weezer like? How's it going? Like I'm conducting an interview, and he was really calm and he's nice. He gave me the time of day and he said, it's great. Feels like a greatest hits album. I'm like, right on, man. Well, nice to meet you, and he walked away, and that was, so I got to meet him, and that was actually, I've never told that story. I haven't even thought about it until right now. So that was pretty cool. So that was the closest I got to Rick, or having a Cars moment.
Very cool. Got a couple of questions from listeners to close this out, if you're cool with that.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
All right. So Nikki and Clay wants to know how you've been spending all the downtime while we've all been self-isolating during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, sure. I've been spending some nice time with my wife. very lucky that I have a wife I love as a best friend and all that good stuff, and my 2 dogs. And then, but for connection to the outside world, I've been doing stuff like this, talking to people like yourself, but regularly through the week at noon, I've been talking to different artists, different people that may have some sort of insight to how to mentally survive this scary time. And so I've asked a lot of different people, from Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. Alex Ebert actually was a guest. I just talked to Judah from Judah and the Lion right before this. Talked to Hannah from Group Love, Jordan from Grandson, Phineas, Dr. Wu, biggest tattoo artist in the world I grew up with. He was awesome. This doctor named Dr. Michael Gervais, who's a high performance psychologist. So he was able to really like school all of us. Both our viewers or fans or listeners were like, okay, so that was really helpful to hear some educated advice, actually, instead of us just shooting from the hip, right? So that was really cool. And there's a bunch more that I'm spacing on right now, but I'm going to talk to Andrew McMahon tomorrow. And it's been helpful. It's been a really nice way to connect, not only to our fans, but connect to these other artists that I wouldn't have talked to Judah like this, I wouldn't have talked to you like this. So this is a way we're forced to stay connected as humans, and that's got to be one of the rare positive things about this whole quarantine. Absolutely.
There's always 2 ways to look at everything,
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing.
So my last listener question comes from Sal, from here in Syracuse. And his question is, your song Sal got used in a lot of TV shows, movies, video games, and commercials. Was there any of those, what we call syncs, that really stood out to you, or any that were memorable or took you by surprise?
Yes. The most recent one was in a show called Fleabag. And this is, I don't know how many, 8 years after the song had come out. And I didn't know it was on that show. I didn't know what the show was. And my wife and I watched it because everybody told us, those shows, everybody's like, you got to watch this show. And sometimes they come from your wife or girlfriend or whatever. And you're like, I don't know what, so it's because it's heavy to commit to a show. Let's be real. And so anyways, we were watching the show, and I think someone mentioned it to me, but I forgot because the song's been used so much. I'm very lucky that way. But they use it in such a creative, cool way that I was proud. The show was great. And it came so much later that it was a nice reminder of the reach of that song. And it was used in a very, very creative way. She was about to get her period. So she was feeling strange, basically. And then they used the song, and she was on the subway, and they like choreographed the movements, and I was really stoked.
It was a very cool moment. We do watch that show here, so
yeah,
awesome, man. Well, those are my listener questions. I just want to part with thanking you for your continued efforts in moving music forward, man. I love your thought process. I love the fact that you're not afraid to take chances, and that everything you do is absolutely sincere and, in my opinion, genre bending. So congratulations on all your success. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with me today and our listeners, both your side and ours. It means a lot. And we wish you well, Aaron. Good luck with the new album, the new single, and anything you need, please let us know.
Anytime, man. Thanks for having me and playing any of the music at all. It really means the most to me from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate the support.
Awesome. Take care, brother.
All right, buddy. Take care.